This is not looking like the best of days to be working out in the garden, but that's what we're doing today. We are going to get started with Botania. Hopefully I can see the sun is coming up. Hopefully it will stop raining. I have been on the server now for several Minecraft days. I'm doing some off-camera work, and it has been raining almost constantly. Ever since I got on the server, it's been raining almost constantly. It stopped for a little while, and then it started again, and we have to go out there in the rain to get started with Botania today. And that's actually, we're going to get started, and we're going to get as far as we can, and we're going to try to take the fast track along Botania. Since the last time we met, I've done a few things. I got myself a staff of traveling so I can move around a little bit more easily. I got myself I set up a wireless charger downstairs, so now my armor is being charged, and so is my staff of traveling. And I have just made myself an ME security terminal, a wireless access point, and a wireless terminal. Oh, actually one more thing I want to make is the wireless boosters. We're going to stick our wireless terminal in there, and now it is linked to this system, and that's the only thing we ever have to do with that. And then we're pretty much done with it, unless we want to start controlling access to our ME system. And then this one I'm going to stick right there, and that is our ME wireless access point. That will allow us to access remotely. Yay! But now if we go over here, oh, we still have access. Okay, so the range is a little bigger than okay, now we're out of range. See, now that's not a very big range. It'll definitely help within our base, but we want more. Okay, but now it's using more power, but that's okay. We should be fine with that. And this is a brand new door. This was not here the last time we met. And it goes into a long hallway. It's actually a tunnel. We're tunneling through the mountain right now, and we're coming out the other side. I'm gonna try to go to sleep and see if I can sleep off the rain, but this is the garden. This was actually one of the first places that I wanted to build a base, and I decided to do it over there by the little water thing. I am going to actually fly around the world. I've got myself a flower pouch, a Botania flower pouch, which holds a full stack of every single color of flowers. That way it doesn't have to take up my inventory, because there's 16 different colors, and that would take up 16 different slots. So I'm going to see if I can fill this guy up. I had a little bit of a close call while I was out collecting flowers. I think I got enough for now to get us started. I found a hungry node. I'm just finding these things in every world lately. I was somewhere over here. It almost killed me. I had to use my staff of traveling to get out of it. You don't want to get killed by a hungry node, because they suck everything in. And I'm thinking they'll probably suck in my grave too, so. But it was over here somewhere. Well, you can kind of see the hole there. It's down there. So we might play with that later. I don't have goggles of revealing or anything yet, because I haven't done anything with Thermalcraft in this world. Whoa, away. Whew. Yeah, it was starting to pull me in there. Ready to get started. I've got my petal apothecary here. I made myself an infinite water source over there. So we can start. Oh, I need seeds. Oh boy, we don't have very many seeds, do we? I have to put these in our equivalent exchange. Oh boy. Really? I finally got some seeds. Boy, that was hard. I broke a ton of grass before I finally got some seeds. And then I put them in my equivalent exchange system. But anyway, first thing we're going to be making is pure daisies. So the pure daisy is just 4 petals. I'm gonna make 2 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a piece of seed. A piece of seed. A seed that gives us a pure daisy. So our pure daisy is what we're gonna use to make our living wood and our living stone. Going to need both of these right away, so I'm just going to use one for living stone and one for living wood. Alright, let's pick these up. Whoops. Plant these blue ones. Now each of these flowers will give us 2 petals each, but if we make them big flowers, they'll get us 4 petals each. But we do need a shears to pick them up. Orange, blue, 2 yellow, seed. Yay! Okay, we'll do that, and then we right-click with an empty hand, so that fills it up again for us. And then let's grab a bucket of water, throw in our seed, fill it up again, right-click with an empty hand, get some water, throw in our seed, fill it up, right-click with an empty hand, get some water, throw in our seed. Got ourselves 8 day blooms. I'm not going to bother making the nightshades. I think we'll just do the day blooms, and oh, we're going to need a mana spreader. We better do that first. Need 6 living wood, piece of gold, and then a petal of any kind. That gives us a mana spreader, and then we can make our mana pool. We'll actually make 2 of these because we're going to need. All right, let's make our wand of the forest. I got my 3 living wood twigs, which are made with the 2 pieces of living wood. Put them on a diagonal like this, and I'm just going to use blue petals because I have them. Usually I like to have different colored petals, but and while we're holding it, we can see which way the mana is shooting, which of course is not the way we want it to be shooting. Now we can set up our day blooms and start producing mana. Yay! Where's our day blooms? There we go. And of course we have to set these up in a checkerboard pattern because otherwise they will conflict with each other. There. Alright. Now we should be starting to produce some mana. And if we hover over these guys, we'll see that that mana spreader is selected. So that means that they are sending mana to the mana spreader. And when we hover over the mana spreader, we can see that the mana pool is selected. Yay, our first mana burst. As soon as we have enough mana, we can make a real mana pool, because this is just the diluted mana pool, which is kind of our starting pool. And then we can start looking at other ways of generating mana. Because, like I said, these things aren't going to last very long, and as you can see, they hardly produce anything. We got just a tiny little dot on the left that they've produced so far. So ultimately I want to make these thermalillies, but we're not ready to do that yet. So what we're probably going to do is make... we're probably going to start with these endoflames. Let this produce mana for a little while, and as soon as we can make some mana petals, I will do that, and then we will make our endoflames. 8 red petals, 8 brown petals, and 4 light gray petals, because we're going to make 4 endoflames to start with. And half of our red petals need to be turned into mana petals. And half of our brown petals need to be turned into mana petals. Uh-oh. We don't have enough mana. So as soon as we have enough mana, I'll turn these into brown mana petals, like this one. And then I'll meet you over there by the petal apothecary. 1 brown, 1 red, 1 mana brown, 1 mana red, and 1 gray. Gives us, yay, 1 endoflame. Alright, so now, oh crap, I didn't have my bucket ready. Where's my bucket? We have 30 seconds, I think it is, to shift, or to right click with an empty hand. Okay, there we go. Just gonna fill the gaps with the endoflames. Where should I put the fourth? You know what? I'm just gonna put it in place of that. And I'm gonna move this off there. Doesn't matter. Now we can grab some coal or something. I'm going to throw about 4 down for each because they pick up 1 at a time. And it takes about, I think it's like 62 seconds or something before they pick up the next one. So we should be able to throw down about 4 for each without worrying about them despawning. So we can throw 16 of them down there. And they should each pick 1 up. So those 3 picked some up. Oh, they did all. So there's 4 sitting there right now. And now we're producing a lot more. We're going to need a rune of earth and a rune of fire. So we're going to have to set up our runic altar. And I think actually we have what we need for that. So why don't we do that right away? Runic altar. So it's just living rock and a mana pearl. Ouch! Living rock and a mana pearl or a mana diamond. Sorry, my cat just jumped off my lap and kind of scratched me a little bit. Let's go with the diamond. I think we have more of those than... whatever. Doesn't matter. They're all the same. So the mana diamond, of course, is a mana drop... is a diamond dropped into a mana pool. There we go. And this thing needs mana. Why don't we put it... Put it right there, and we'll set up another mana spreader here. So we need the rune of fire and the rune of earth. So the rune of fire is 3 mana steel, another brick, gunpowder, and nether wart. So our nether steel, of course, is iron dropped in our mana pool. See how many we can make of how many mana steel we can make, I suppose. Alright, 3 mana steel. Actually, let's just stand on top here so we can go boom, 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 and then let's make sure we have a living rock ready to throw on the top. There we go. Yay! So it's pulling mana out of our mana pool. Oh, we gotta throw our living rock on there. And then, boom! Yay! There's our runes of fire. And then we need... Then we need our rune of earth. 3 mana steel, colored stone, a block of coal, and a mushroom. 3 mana steel, a stone. It doesn't have to be a colored stone. That was just one of the options. If you watch it long enough, it'll come around to stone. But it shows all the different colored stones, and then eventually it shows you that you can use regular old stone. And then a block of coal. That's so neat. There we go. It's making our rune of earth. Do we have a... Yeah, we'll have a living rock ready. Alright, it's ready for this. And that. Yay! Awesome. Orange. 1 orange mana. 1 red. 1 rune of fire. And 1 rune of earth. Have our bucket ready. Have an empty paw ready. And we throw in our seed. Okay. Yay! Our first thermalilly. I've got myself a tesseract here. That is pulling fluids, lava, and energy so that we can power our fountain. I've got a Mine Factory Reloaded fountain, and what this guy does is it basically does that. So it has an inventory, a fluid inventory, which of course it's pulling out of our tesseract, which has lava, or which is sending lava. So but that fountain will always keep a piece of lava there. A piece of lava. You know what I mean. So this guy pulled the lava. You can see that our fountain replaced it right away. once again. And then we can put up to 4 here. Our thermalilly tower. It's a big dirt tower with a pipe going up in the back and a bunch of fountain blocks, which are placing lava on the block above them. And then every time a thermalilly grabs the lava, it will place more lava. So we've got a fully automated mana generation here, and it's generating a decent amount of mana. To the point where slowly generating mana isn't enough, and blah blah blah. But they're, I don't know, they do big bursts. They grab the lava, they create a bunch of mana, and then they drop it into the pool. But they have a really long cooldown time. So in the end, I don't really know that they're producing any more mana than the endoflames. Checkerboard pattern, living rock, lapis, and terrestrial agglomeration plate. Now each piece of terra steel is going to take a half a mana pool. Boy. These things are just not... They're not giving me enough mana. We need another mana spreader. These guys up on the top 2 rows, those 8 flowers up there cannot reach that mana spreader. That's why we're not getting anything here. This is a long distance though. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. If this doesn't work, we might stick a mana pool or something up here, but... Alright, so that's connected to that. Now we're gonna have to bind all these flowers to that mana pool. I mean that mana spreader. Yeah, there we go. So half of our flowers were not, we're just sitting there waiting. They're all full of mana. We're gonna place 1 spark above this mana pool. Ta-da! I'm gonna place the other one right there. So now we check to see that we have at least, except we don't do it with our staff of traveling, we do it with our wand of the forest. Yes, we have enough. We have enough to make 1. 1 terra steel is 1 mana steel, 1 mana pearl, and 1 mana diamond. We don't have enough mana for this. It's actually going to steal all our mana and fail, and then we'll lose it all. So we don't want that to happen. So I had to make sure we're in good shape. So there's our mana steel. There's our... Oh, darn it. See, this is... this is kind of a pain sometimes. Without flight, this would be really difficult to do because it's hard to get close enough to the thing. There we go. Without picking it up. Nice. It's a nice particle effect. Boy, it's taking a while. And we actually only need 1. We only need 1 terra steel. Yay! Our first terra steel ingot! Awesome! Dancer in the dark. Elven Gateway Core. I'm now making some 2 mana pylons, which we are then going to use to make Natura pylons, and this is where we're going to use the rest of our terra steel ingots. That is glimmering living wood, and then we're going to need a bunch more living wood. He killed his sister. Alright, anyway, what were we doing here? Let's get our book out. And set this guy, how about back? Okay, I love this visualization thing. Check this out, man. That's nice. So we put everything right where it tells us to put it. There's our gateway core. And when we're done, it's going to tell us we're done. Oh boy, this is going to take a while. We're going to have to fill up these mana pools. I think I'm actually going to make some more endoflames. Because these are just not, this just isn't happening fast enough. Pretty sure we've got enough mana to open this thing up now. Yay! Oh yeah, geez, I hardly used any mana at all. Okay, I could have opened it up a long time ago. Alright, so the first thing I can do, or that we want to do, is throw our Lexica Botania in there, and we'll get it back. So all this green stuff is new. Well, it's all information that came from the elves. Stuff that we can now do now that we've opened our Elven Gateway core. And one of those things is sparks. So if we actually go, spark augments. But actually I'm not going to look at that. I'm just going to go in here because we already know spark augments. There are 4 different spark augments: dispersive, dominant, recessive, and isolated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, here's our recessive spark. We can stick that in there, and we should start seeing. Yep. Awesome. Should start seeing these guys filling up, even though okay, and then I'm going to put, oh, okay, I still need to make another mana pool, but I am going to make these 2 recessive, or dominant. We're actually going to end up with 3 dominants. And then I'm going to make, and then I'm going to make a bunch of mana pools over here, all with sparks, as our mana pool buffer. It's time to make one of my favorite early game Botania items, the Sojourner Sash. Now I have speed and step boost already from my dark armor that we did last time. Now we're actually going to have a little bit more. Speed boost I get from my dark armor, and here's my sprint. Well, if I pick up some mana, this is walking. And this is sprinting. And there's jumping, so it's definitely a boost. Nice. I can almost jump all the way up this hill. I can jump all the way. Nice. I did a little bit of rearranging out here. I got a whole bunch of more mana pools. And I also added another layer up there, so we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We now have 24 of these thermalillies. I added a mana pool up there so that it's faster. And then this mana pool has a recessive spark on it, as does this one. So the 2 mana pools that are actually receiving mana from our mana producing flowers are both recessive, so they're going to disperse mana out into the other pools. These pools have no augment, so they're basically like our buffer, kind of our overflow. And then these 3 are all dominant, so these 3 will be kept full at all times. And I moved all of our like crafting interactive stuff over here. So we have our Petal Apothecary here. This is going to be our main mana pool that we're going to be interacting with. And this, obviously, is our Alfheim gateway. So everything that we interact with is all right here. And then check this out. I made and planted a jaded amaranth. I planted a jaded amaranthus, which takes a little bit of mana, and it causes flowers to grow in its vicinity. So that looks pretty cool up on the hill like that. I had it down lower, and it was planting flowers all over this stuff, and I didn't like that, so I decided to move it up onto the hill. And yeah, I kind of like how that turned out. You can definitely see its range though when you look. There's a very clean line where the flowers stop. But that's just fine. So now we don't have to run around the world to look for flowers anymore. We can just go over here, pick the flowers we want. You know, let's say we need some gray flowers, maybe a blue, whatever. You know, we just pick some flowers and they're going to end up in our petal bag. And this guy is just going to replant them. So if we wait a few seconds, we should see some flowers popping back in to the spots that we picked. There we go. Got a pink one there. It takes a little while, but that's okay. I mean, it's not like we would be sitting here picking flowers all the time. Just whenever we want some flowers, we'll come up here and get some. And it looks like we've got pretty much every color here. So we're set, man. We're good to go with flowers. We're pretty good to go with mana too. I have been feeding these guys just because, I mean, why not? As long as I'm here, I may as well feed them, and that'll produce more mana for us. But once these pools are full, I think that these thermalillies are pretty much going to produce enough mana for us. All kinds of stuff now. I mean, we really have the resources we need to make some of the really cool Botania items. Like, of course, we already made our Sojourner Sash. But our next thing that we're going to be doing is meeting the Gaia Guardian, and then we will be able to do anything. We'll be able to do everything. Once we get our Gaia spirits, we'll be able to craft anything we want to in Botania. Right now we can craft almost anything, except those things requiring Gaia spirits. So, and we're just about ready to do that. I really like to get, I mean, we could go there in our dark armor. I could actually upgrade these to protection 5, and I would like to get into, and I've never done this before, I have not played around ever with Botania's vials and flasks, which are basically potions, but they're large bottles of potions, so you get several doses from a single bottle. So rather than having to have, you know, 10 potions in my inventory, I can just have one of these and drink it, you know, however many times. So we'll equip ourselves with some of that stuff. You know, like I said, the last time I met the Gaia Guardian, I was wearing Draconic armor. There is no Draconic evolution here in this mod pack, so we won't be doing that here. And I would, you know, like I said, I would like to kind of meet this guy on his own turf and make it a little bit challenging, you know, instead of the Draconic armor really just kind of took the whole challenge away from it because it pretty much makes us invincible. I mean, it was still difficult trying to catch up with that crazy crazy guy and get some hits in and stuff, but yeah, we weren't taking any damage from him, so it was just a matter of time before we killed him. There was no question that we were going to kill him eventually. Whoops! Oh no! 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 Oh man, I think I've been playing too long. I need to stop. Get in there! Stupid. Okay. All right. I better stop. All right. I think that's enough for today. We got a lot accomplished today. We did pretty much everything in Botania except the Gaia Guardian. And we're going to do that next time, and then we'll be able to craft all kinds of cool stuff. So in the next episode, we are probably going to make ourselves some Terrasteel armor. I'm going to do a little bit off camera in the area of mana production, just so that we can kind of up our production a little bit, because we're going to need a lot of mana. Oh, look at the bubbles. Or whatever that is. Okay, anyway. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.